Hi, my name is Wendy Apple. I am a certified Neurographica instructor. I teach classes through my business WendingPath, and I also do some assisting, supervising feedback work with the Psychology of Creativity Institute in the English Language School. Like you, I'm guessing, I stumbled on Neurographica by chance. And when I did that, I struggled, um, even as I was learning to figure out how to learn about Neurographica, to figure out what it was about, where to get the best classes. And even as I began taking classes, I struggled to figure out, why is this so hard to understand? So I think I've figured it all out. I've been doing this for a little while now. And as I'm meeting people, I'm finding they have the exact same questions I had. So I thought I would record this video in the hopes that it would help you avoid some of the time it took for me to figure out what to do. So I'm gonna spend the next few minutes going through how to learn Neurographica, where to learn Neurographica, and which things you might want to choose to focus on, or other things that might be of more interest. That's my plan here. So let's get started. First, Neurographica was created by Pavel Piskarov in April of 2014. I'm recording this in May of 2024, so Neurographica is 10 years old. Pavel Piskarov is Russian and doesn't speak English. After he discovered, which will become relevant in a minute, after he created Neurographica, he founded his institute, the Psychology of Creativity Institute, and that is also housed in Russia, and their website is neurographica.us, so you can always get some information there. And that's their English-speaking website, so everything that's on there is in English. For those of you who don't know, Neurographica is a registered trademark, both the word Neurographica as well as the method of Neurographica. So legally, Pavel Piskarov and the Psychology of Creativity Institute have the rights over Neurographica. In case you stumbled on this video and you don't know what Neurographica is, Neurographica is a drawing technique. And this is important. It follows a specific 8-step formula. It has been shown to create dynamic change in the person who's doing the drawing. In order for it to actually be Neurographica, you must follow the 8-step formula. The focus of Neurographica is to make change within yourself as the artist, as opposed to making a beautiful or moving piece of artwork. So there's another term, neuroart, and there are really no rules for neuroart. Neuroart is something that often resembles Neurographica, but has not necessarily followed the specified 8-step method. So that's the difference between the two. And that's hotly contested on the internet. So, but that's the information. So why is it so difficult to figure out where to take classes and how to take classes and how to find a teacher? The first thing I want to say is it's only 10 years old. It was discovered in Russia by a man who speaks Russian. So making its way into the English-speaking world is a bit of a slog. It first came to the US anyway, and I assume the rest of the English-speaking world, by individuals who speak Russian, who took the classes in Russian, and who translated it and then taught it in English. Now, Pavel's Institute is doing some of that work as well, translating it and teaching it in English. But all of that didn't start until about 5 years ago. So it's taken a long time. On the other hand, it's only 10 years old, and it is a worldwide phenomenon. It is being taught in, I don't even know how many languages, a whole lot, and many people all over the globe well, I don't know, they estimate the country number goes up and up and up. But how many countries now teach Neurographica? But even in the US, the great big US, there are probably at most 10 certified Neurographica instructors, and they don't all teach Neurographica. So that is why it's hard to find classes in the US or classes taught in English. What is taught in English is translated, right? So the method was created in Russian, the method was developed in Russian, and when it gets taught in English, it gets translated from Russian, sometimes very well, and sometimes not so well. And in particular, I have found that the terminology, the specific terminology of the steps and what the classes are called, does not translate, at least to my American sensibilities, particularly well. That was part of my struggle with understanding it. So again, I'm going to try to help you see or figure out some of the things that I figured out. I did want to also tell you that the Institute only sanctions classes taught by certified instructors. So the Institute certifies instructors. So the Institute is created by Pavel. That Institute certifies instructors. If someone says they're a certified instructor, that means they've taken the classes designed by Pavel and have his blessing to move forward with teaching. So that in itself is a process. It takes about a year to get that certification. Okay, so what to learn, how to learn. Most Neurographica classes are taught online, including Pavel's classes are taught online. It's rare to find a class in person. I'm sure it's much more common to find them in Russia. But given the scarcity of the teachers, you can understand that. So if you happen to run across a teacher who's local and is teaching locally, that's great, take it in person. But for the most part, you can assume you will be learning online through Zoom or whatever facility the teacher's using. So how do you learn? There are 3 ways. I'm going to teach three. That's 3. I'm going to teach you 3 ways, or talk you through 3 ways. You have probably already discovered that there are Neurographica videos on YouTube. That's great. Most people try a free Neurographica video on YouTube before they do anything else, and I encourage you to do that. The advantages to YouTube is it's available on demand, there's some variety, and it's free. The disadvantage is until you've worked with a teacher before, you don't know the quality of the instruction. You need to do some homework to find out if it's a certified instructor. You obviously don't get feedback from the teacher or certifications or anything like that. And there's really no guarantee what you're being taught is accurate. But that being said, there are highly qualified teachers who post videos on YouTube, and there's no reason not to watch those. Okay, so that's the first way. That's the free way to learn. The next way to learn is something called certified courses. The word certified gets bandied around quite a bit in Neurographica, so I want to explain what that really means and translated that for you into English. So when they call it a certified class, what they actually mean is that it's a class taught by a certified instructor, so an instructor who has the credentials to teach the course, and that you yourself will earn a certificate of completion for taking the class. You won't be authorized to teach the class when you're done, but you will get a certificate proving that you successfully completed the course. So that's what they mean when they say a certified course. Another thing a certified course is it means that the institute, Pavel's Institute, wrote the curriculum. So if you take a class from somebody that's a certified class, it means that isn't one they made up. It is one of the classes that the Institute says that, this is the class, this is the name, and this is what you need to teach in the class. So that is also important to know. Now, some classes now are already being taught in English through the Institute. And of course, you're welcome to take those. And I gave you that website, neurographica.us, if you want to learn about what they're teaching. I actually work as a supervisor, which is kind of the equivalent of a TA in the US education system in college. So it's like a teaching assistant, and work directly with the students and give them feedback on their work. So you can go to the Institute and take those classes, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I don't recommend that as a first step in your learning. Taking classes directly from Pavel is incredibly fulfilling and inspirational. It is not the way I would suggest learning the very rudimentary parts of Neurographica, because his thinking and teaching is somewhat advanced, and it can be hard to grasp the basics when you're being dragged into the clouds. He's wonderful to watch, and I recommend everybody take classes from him, but I don't particularly recommend that as your first step into the basic. All right, so there are 9 courses that the Institute has written the curriculum for, sanctioned, that people like me, certified teachers, can teach. And they have a common naming system and a common certification system. And again, it's a situation where the words don't always translate really well, so that's part of what I want to do for you. The first class is called Basic User. It is the very beginning, as implied by basic, of learning Neurographica, and it is a requirement or a prerequisite for any of the other 8 classes. So I said there were 9 altogether. Any of the other 8 classes you must have taken the Basic User course in order to take. When you finish a Basic User course, whether you were to take it with me, any certified instructor, or the Institute, you would get a certificate proving you had completed the class that you would need to produce to a teacher of any of the other 8 classes to say, I've already taken basic, I can take this. So that's the purpose of the certificate in that particular situation, or one of the purposes. All right, so Basic User. What do you learn in Basic User? You are going to learn the 8 steps that I referred to. You'll learn them inside and out. You'll learn them cold. You will understand what is the difference between Neurographica and NeuroArt. Okay, you'll learn some history. You'll learn the science behind the method, which I think personally I found fascinating. So the how and the why it works, you'll learn. You'll learn about the principles of Neurographica. You will get something, and I think I referred to it earlier, the word supervision, which is, again, I think a poor translation. They say you will get 4 supervisions in the class. That's the terminology that I hear. What that means is that on 4 of your drawings, you will receive feedback from a certified instructor. So you will submit your drawing as homework, and the work will be commented on and returned to you. That is useful because it improves your drawing skills and also helps you see your drawings in a slightly different way, more expanded way, hopefully. So that's what a supervision is when they say supervision. I tend to call it feedback. You will learn 4 algorithms. It's kind of stretched out from there, but essentially you will learn 4 algorithms in that course. These algorithms will be focused on clearing the limitations that we place on ourselves that keep us from realizing our full potential. So, and that's really what all of them are focused on. There are different ways that you use them, which you'll learn, but essentially it's about removing your own internal blocks that keep you from moving forward. So you would learn how to use them in a situation where you didn't have much time. You would learn how to remove limitations that are big and have been holding you back in significant ways, smaller ones that are just making certain day-to-day activities difficult. All of those things would be applicable with the algorithms you would learn in the Basic User course. Many people, I think the majority, take the Basic User course, and that is the only course they ever take. The things that you will learn in the Basic User course will make it easier to do free YouTube videos, easier to take other courses with other teachers, and will give you an understanding. I personally know someone who took that course and never took another course and drew every day for at the time, last time I checked, for a year and a half. So you will have the ability to continue drawing if you take that class without having to do anything else, if that's your choice, if that's your decision. Okay. A basic user class, prices will vary from instructor to instructor, but the class itself is approximately 8 lecture hours. That includes some drawing time, but you can also expect some homework in the class. So it'll be more than 8 hours of your time. All of these classes that I'm about to tell you about are 8 hours with 4 pieces of homework, 4 supervisions, feedbacks. Typically, the teacher will tell you in the instructions what they're doing, and then a certificate at the end. All right, so the classes after basic user are referred to as advanced algorithms. Now, I want to address the word algorithm for a minute, because they use the word algorithm in 2 different ways, which I also found pretty confusing. So the second class after the basic user class is called Neurocomposition Algorithm 2. They refer to it as Algorithm 2. In neurocomposition, you are going to learn 4 or maybe 5 different algorithms. And how the specific algorithm, I would call the things you're learning in the class, the 4, 5, 6 things that you're going to learn in the class, algorithms. The course itself is not really an algorithm, but that's how it's named. And I think that can be very confusing. So that class, neurocomposition, that's listed as algorithm 2. That class, again, like I said, 8 hours, typically 4 pieces of homework. That class would be the second class I would recommend to you after you take basic, if you want to continue your education. So the neurocomposition course is designed to teach you the alphabet of Neurographica and the language of essentially designing and creating your own future. So when you take neurocomposition, you will be focusing on, as opposed to removing a limitation as you did in the basic class, you will be thinking, I would like to, maybe career development, something about your career, something you want to change. And you would select what you want to change, and you would do a drawing around the things that need to occur or that might occur in that direction, and then what might happen to you afterwards in the event that you or when you achieve that initial goal. So neurocomposition is all about that. It's all about how we design the drawings, how we lay it out, how we make it look in a way that makes the drawing more effective, but again, moving you forward as opposed to clearing blocks. Okay. The third class, also called the third algorithm, which again I consider a misnomer. You'll learn several algorithms in the course. That one is called Neurocolor. Neurocolor, I also would consider a basic and probably the third most important course. And that one is focused on, we already use color in our drawings. We use color from the very beginning. But that one is focused on how to use color, and when you use color, how you can use it to aid in the information in your drawing, aid in bringing certain strengths and skills in various ways through your drawing, how to manipulate with color, I guess would be a good way to say it. So basic user is number 1. You have to take that pretty much to do anything else other than free classes, pretty much. Not quite. I'll explain that in a minute. To take any of the advanced algorithm courses, 2 through 9, I recommend both number 2, neurocomposition, and neurocolor, which is number 3. There are then, let's see, that's 3, and there's 9, so there's 6 more algorithms. And those 6 algorithms each have strengths, each teach you different things. I personally would rate them as less important, if you're picking and choosing what you're going to do, as less important than the other ones, because they get applied in certain situations. Now, everybody, all the certified instructors you talk to have their favorites, ones that they took in their training that they thought were particularly effective or had an impact on them, and there are great classes in there. But they're all a little bit different, and beyond what I want to explain to you today. So those 9 classes are all what they're called certification classes. And they're all, as I said before, classes where the Pavel Piskarov's Institute has designed the curriculum and only taught by certified instructors, certified by the Institute. Okay? One more class in this category, and then we're ready to move on. The last class in this category is called a specialist certification. And any of you who've delved a little bit into this have probably heard of that. A specialist certification, you have to have the basic user to take it. It does not get explained this way, but here's how I'm going to explain it to you. The purpose of a specialist certification is to be almost continuing education for somebody who's in a therapeutic field. So if you are a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, an art therapist, anybody, a yoga teacher, anybody who works with people already, who already does that kind of personal growth work, even a coach, this would be a course you would take where you would learn 6 specific algorithms, which are not taught in any of the other courses, that you could then use to work with your clients. And that is the purpose of a specialist certification. So a certified instructor, and I'm not going to explain how you get that, that's what I am, is different than a specialist. A specialist would be, again, somebody like a therapist who is, just like you might learn EMDR. Did I say that one right? Yeah, I think it's EMDR. And make that part of your practice. You might learn hypnosis and make that part of your practice. So it's like learning one of those things and adding to your practice. It doesn't always get explained quite that way. And again, I think a lot of that is because of translation. So I'm trying to translate the translation for you. All right. And then the fourth way to learn, or third, I don't know where I am. The last way to learn is from any certified instructor, so like me, who teaches courses that are not called certification courses about just about any topic they choose. So I have taken courses from instructors that were, many, many sessions long, 8 or 9, different sessions that the instructor designed the curriculum all themselves, and all the work, the drawing is original or unique to that instructor. Again, it follows the 8 steps of Neurographica, each drawing does, but the information that the teacher is trying to convey is different than the certified instruction. You can always take those classes. Some teachers will require you to have a basic user certificate for that. Most will not. Most will be willing to teach you the very, very, very basic, and then you will just follow instructions, do the drawing, and work on what you're learning. So there are all kinds of classes along that line as well, and that is certainly perfectly acceptable. So I hope that this explanation is enough to get you to skip half of at least a portion of what I had to go through to try to figure all of these things out. And good luck on your journey. Check out my website, WendingPath.com, and check out my classes if you're looking for a place to learn some more about Neurographica. And good luck on your journey. Thank you.